Last week, two men walked into the same clinic on the same day. Both were 63. On paper, they looked almost identical. Same age, similar background, no major difference that should have changed the way they moved through life. But the moment they entered the room, the difference was impossible to miss. The first man came in slowly. He held onto the doorframe to steady himself. Every step looked careful, like he no longer trusted his own legs. When he sat down, he lowered himself into the chair with both hands. I asked him how he had been feeling. He gave me a tired smile and said, "I guess I'm just getting old." You could hear the defeat in his voice, not fear, not even anger, acceptance. He had started believing that weakness was simply the price of getting older, that nothing could really be done, that this was just how life worked after 60. Then the second man walked in. Same age, but he moved with confidence. His posture was upright. His eyes were alert. When we shook hands, his grip was firm. He sat down without hesitation. I asked him the same question. He smiled and said, "Honestly, I feel like I'm just getting started." That stayed with me. Two men, both 63, but they seemed to be living in completely different stages of life. And the difference was not just luck. It was not simply genetics. It came down to a handful of basic abilities that one man had protected and the other had slowly stopped using. That is how decline often happens. It does not always arrive as one big health crisis. Sometimes it happens quietly. You stop walking because your knees hurt a little. You stop getting down on the floor because standing back up feels harder. You stop learning new things. You stop making plans. You tell yourself you are being realistic. But little by little, your world gets smaller. A lot of men have been taught to expect this. They are told that losing strength is normal, that low energy is normal, that the best years are already behind them. Some decline may come with age. That part is real, but giving up movement, challenge, purpose, and connection can weaken a man much faster than age alone. That is what we are going to look at today on Hidden Organ Secrets. There are 7 simple abilities that reveal far more about your condition than most people realize. They test your strength, balance, memory, energy, emotional control, and sense of purpose. As we go through them, be honest with yourself. This is not about proving anything. It is about noticing what is still strong and what may need your attention. Because losing one of these abilities does not mean it is over. It means your body is asking you to start using it again. Let's start with something simple. Not lifting weights, not running a mile, just one basic movement. If you sat down on the floor right now, could you stand back up without using your hands, a chair, or anything else to help you? Give yourself an honest answer. This isn't about looking athletic. It isn't about proving how strong you are. It's about how well your body still works as one complete system. Standing up from the floor asks a lot from you. Your legs have to produce enough strength. Your hips need to move freely. Your core has to keep you stable. Your balance has to stay steady from start to finish. All of those pieces have to work together at the same time. If one part is weak, the whole movement becomes harder. That is why this simple test tells you much more than people realize. It isn't just measuring your legs, it's showing how much everyday strength your body still has. The kind of strength that lets you stay independent. The kind that helps you recover if you ever trip or lose your balance. Most people don't think about this until one day they end up on the floor and suddenly realize they can't get back up without help. By then, the problem has already been growing for years. The good news is that this ability doesn't disappear overnight, and it can be rebuilt. One of the easiest ways to start is by spending a little time sitting on the floor every day, not on the couch, not in a recliner. Actually sit on the floor. Let your body get comfortable with those natural movements again. If you need to use your hands at first, that's okay. Use whatever support you need. Then, little by little, try to rely on it less. Small improvements matter. Your body learns through repetition. The more often you practice these everyday movements, the more natural they become. Because staying independent isn't usually about doing something extraordinary. It's about making sure you never lose the ordinary things that matter most. Now let's look at something almost everyone takes for granted. Walking. Not hiking up a mountain. Not jogging. Just walking at a normal pace for 30 minutes. Could you do it today without your knees giving out, your hips tightening up, or your breathing forcing you to sit down? Think about it honestly, because this has very little to do with speed, it has everything to do with freedom. The ability to walk comfortably is what lets you live life on your own terms. It's what allows you to go grocery shopping without thinking twice, to travel without worrying about every staircase, to visit your kids or grandkids without looking for the nearest chair every few minutes, to go where you want, when you want, without depending on someone else. That's what walking really gives you. I've noticed something over the years. A lot of people stop walking because a joint starts to hurt a little. They tell themselves they're protecting their knees or giving their hips a break. At first, it sounds reasonable, but months turn into years. The walks become shorter. Then they stop completely. Before long, the body gets weaker, the muscles lose strength, the joints get stiffer, and walking becomes even harder than before. It wasn't the walking that caused the decline. Stopping was. The body is built to move, and when it stops moving, it slowly forgets how. If 30 minutes feels like too much right now, don't worry about that. Start with 10 minutes. Stay consistent. Next week, add another couple of minutes. Then do it again. Don't focus on how far you go. Pay attention to how you feel afterward. Do you recover well? Do you feel more energized than exhausted? Those small changes matter more than people think. You don't protect your joints by avoiding movement forever. You protect them by giving them the right kind of movement, over and over again. Because one of the greatest gifts you can have as you get older is the ability to simply get up, walk out the front door, and know your body will carry you wherever you want to go. Now I want to ask you a different kind of question. This one has nothing to do with your muscles. It has everything to do with your mind. When you wake up most mornings, is there something that makes you want to get out of bed? Not something you have to do, something you actually want to do. Maybe it's a project you've been working on, someone you're excited to see, a place you've always wanted to visit, a problem you can't wait to figure out. Or maybe it's just learning something you've never known before. It doesn't have to be big. It just has to matter to you. I've seen men who looked physically healthy slowly lose their spark because they stopped looking forward to anything. Their days became routines. Wake up, eat, watch TV, go to bed, then do it all over again. After a while, life starts to feel like you're simply passing time instead of living it. That's when something begins to change. Not just emotionally, but physically too. When you stop moving toward something, it's easy to stop taking care of yourself. You skip the walk, you stop calling friends, you lose interest in trying new things. Little by little, your world gets smaller. The truth is, purpose doesn't always disappear all at once. It fades quietly when every day starts to feel exactly the same. The good news is that you don't need some huge mission to get it back. Start with one small thing this week. Read a few chapters of a book you've been meaning to open. Fix something around the house. Call a friend you haven't spoken to in a while. Learn a new skill. Finish that one task you've been putting off for months. It doesn't matter what it is. What matters is giving yourself a reason to look ahead instead of simply getting through the day. Because the desire to keep living fully is a lot like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes. And sometimes, one small reason to get out of bed is enough to change the way you feel about the rest of your life. Here's another simple test. The next time you come home from the grocery store, don't just think about what's in the bags. Pay attention to how your body feels carrying them. Can you hold one bag in each hand, walk into the house, maybe even go up a flight of stairs without your arms shaking, your back tightening up, or feeling completely worn out? If you can, that's a really good sign. Because this isn't just about having strong hands, it's about how well your whole body works together. Your grip has to stay firm. Your shoulders need to stay stable. Your forearms have to keep working. Your back and core have to support the weight. And your nervous system has to coordinate all of it without you even thinking about it. That's why grip strength tells a much bigger story than most people realize. Strong hands often mean the rest of your body is still doing its job. It's one of those abilities that quietly shows up in everyday life. Opening a stubborn jar, carrying luggage through an airport, holding onto a handrail without feeling unsteady, moving a box across the garage, doing work around the house, driving yourself wherever you want to go. These things don't seem important until they become difficult. And when your grip starts getting weaker, it's usually not just your hands that are changing. Everyday tasks slowly become harder. You start asking for help with things you used to do without thinking. The good news is that grip strength responds surprisingly well to practice. You don't need expensive equipment. Spend a couple of minutes each day squeezing a rubber ball. Use a hand gripper if you have one. Roll up a towel and squeeze it. Carry a moderately heavy grocery bag for a short walk. Small efforts, done consistently, can make a real difference. Don't underestimate your hands. They do far more than hold things. They often reveal how much strength, stability, and independence you still have. And the longer you can hold on to those everyday abilities, the longer you stay in control of your own life. Here's a question that catches a lot of people off guard. Think about someone you met for the first time last week. Can you remember their name without anyone reminding you? Not the name of an old friend, not someone you see every day, someone new. If you can, that's a good sign. It means your brain is still doing what it's supposed to do. It's paying attention. It's making new memories. It's staying engaged with the people around you. A lot of people assume that forgetting names is just part of getting older. They shrug it off. They laugh about it. They tell themselves, well, that's age. But I don't think we should accept every little change that easily. Sometimes your brain is trying to tell you something. Maybe it isn't getting enough movement. Maybe you're not sleeping well. Maybe every day looks exactly the same and your mind isn't being challenged anymore. Or maybe you've stopped having real conversations that make you focus and stay present. Your brain needs a reason to stay sharp. Just like your muscles, it responds to how you use it. If you stop asking it to learn, remember, and pay attention, it slowly starts doing less of those things. The good news is that you don't need anything complicated to keep it active. Move your body every day. Learn one new thing each week. When you meet someone, repeat their name during the conversation instead of hoping you'll remember it later. Put your phone down once in a while and actually listen when people are talking. And don't overlook your sleep. A tired brain has a much harder time holding on to new memories. The biggest lesson here is simple. Not every memory problem is just a sign of getting older. Sometimes it's a sign that your brain hasn't been given enough opportunities to stay active. The more you challenge it, the more it keeps showing up for you. Your brain was made to keep learning. Give it a reason to do exactly that. Now let's talk about a kind of strength that people rarely notice. Not physical strength, emotional strength. Think about the last time someone disagreed with you. Maybe they criticized you. Maybe they said something you didn't want to hear. Maybe they disappointed you. What happened next? Did you shut down? Did you stop listening? Or did you lose your temper and say something you later wished you hadn't? We've all been there. The real question is whether you can stay in the conversation without letting your emotions take over. To me, that's one of the clearest signs of real maturity. A lot of men spend years carrying things they never talk about: old anger, disappointment, grief, regret. They convince themselves that staying quiet means staying strong. But those feelings don't just disappear because they're ignored. They stay with you. Over time, they can affect the way you sleep, the way you react, and even the way you feel physically. The problem isn't having emotions. The problem is letting them build up until they control you. Real strength isn't about pretending nothing bothers you. It's about hearing something difficult, taking a breath, and choosing your response instead of reacting on impulse. That takes practice, and anyone can get better at it. The next time you feel yourself getting defensive, don't rush to speak. Pause for a moment. Take a slow breath in for 4 seconds, then breathe out for 4 seconds. Let your body settle before you answer. While the other person is talking, focus on understanding what they're actually saying instead of planning your comeback. That small pause can completely change the direction of a conversation. I've learned that staying calm doesn't mean you've given up. It doesn't mean you agree, and it definitely doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're still in control of yourself. At the end of the day, that's what emotional strength really is. Not allowing someone else's words to decide how you think, how you act, or who you become. Here's the last question. When you walk into a room, do people feel a little better simply because you're there? Take a moment and think about it. Not because you're the loudest person, not because you're trying to impress anyone, just because your presence brings something positive to the people around you. That's the final test. Your presence, your vitality, your impact.